So before I started working with Natalie, I was on this journey of like fitness and doing everything that I could, working out a ton, wondering why I wasn't losing weight. Didn't really have a lot of awareness around my nutrition. And so I simply thought that the answer was to continue working out more. And that's what I was doing. What that basically did was it got me burned out because all I did was, increase my level of activity and started eating more, and was wondering why I wasn't seeing results. So I didn't really have a lot of awareness around like nutrition and how to properly fuel my body, before I started working with Natalie. Because I had tried to do it alone like multiple times in terms of like telling myself, all right, I'm just going to exercise more and I'm going to eat less, and like automatically like I should technically lose the weight, because like I had failed at that so many times. My biggest point of skepticism with this program was, how the heck is someone who is not me going to help me eat less and like work out harder? And so I was always kind of like confused of like, well, if I can't control myself to do those things, how is a coach going to help me in that process? There were a couple of breakthroughs that I had in the program. The first one was that stress plays a huge role in our fat loss journey, especially for women. And that it's not as simple as like a math equation of being in this much of a deficit and eating this much and making sure that we're burning this many calories. It's like stress and sleep control so much of the psychological and the physical aspect of how we feel and what our hunger and what our cravings are. And that allowed me to like build this different mindset in terms of like how I approached certain things and making sure that I kept stress low to help in that fat loss journey. I'd say the second thing that it helped with was, I think as people, right, like we get exposed to so many different things. Like we're getting hit with media in terms of this is good for you, this is bad for you. And so we tend to follow the media, but all that does is that creates blind spots, and we start to cling on to these unhealthy habits that we may not be aware of. But having a coach in that process can help expose the blind spots. So there were points where I had so many blind spots. I thought that I was doing everything correctly. And then when I started working with Natalie and she started to expose a lot of those blind spots, I was like, oh my gosh, so this is why when I had tried so many times, it wasn't working. So I'd say that was definitely the second breakthrough. The actual results that I've seen with this program is I was able to lose 13.6 pounds of fat, and I gained 3.4 pounds of muscle. And my body fat percentage went from 33.7% when I started the program all the way down to 24.2% when I ended the program. And that basically means like when I started the program, my body fat composition was in like the 80th percentile for women my age. And when I ended this program, like now I'm in the top 20th percentile in terms of body fat, percentages for women. And so that was pretty impressive to like see those results. The actual proof is, this is my DEXA scan. And as you can see, the differences in terms of like when I started, and how much, fat I was able to like lose. It's basically like the difference, between these muscles. So these are like my actual results that basically show, that I was able to not only lose fat, but gain muscle, which for women who are on a fat loss program, it's very difficult to do. But the trick is to be able to increase your muscle and ramp up, your metabolism that way. I would recommend this program for anyone who wants to have sustainability in their fat loss journey. It's more about like learning what those, tools are, and building a sustainable lifestyle around that. Like no one wants to be miserable during their fat loss journey, because as soon as they lose the fat, they're going to be so miserable and they're going to want to go back to their old ways. And so having a coach that can teach you not just what to do on that journey, but how to use those things and put it into your toolbox so that you can build a sustainable lifestyle when you are at the weight you want to be at, is super helpful. So I recommend that program for anyone who's looking to build that sustainable lifestyle.